next guest was, or is, for Wale, and she will be speaking about fearless feminine leadership. Get that right, Rose. And she will be joining us lately, and Fer has quite a history in teaching women how to be more confident when they're speaking. So I'm looking very much forward to her presentation. And hello, Fer.
Hey,
lovely to see you.
Yeah, you too. Great to see you. I've
Wonderful.
just got a mad dash between a coaching session and here, ready to be here.
Done very well for being and thank you so much for filling in for Margaret, because she was really unwell this morning. So it was and so thank you for doing that. I will let you tell us a little bit about your journey, and then talk about fearless feminine leadership, and tell us why it's so important that we have that, and why feminine leadership is coming more to the fore all the time.
It is. Do you want me to deliver my talk? Because it's sort of all in there.
That's fine. You go for it. I'll put you on the spotlight, and take the floor, my darling.
All right. Thanks, Rose. I'll speak soon. Hi, everyone. It's really great to be here with you. And yes, I'm really pleased to be able to be in this spot. So thanks to Rose. Look, the question I want to answer today is, what does it mean to be a fearless feminine leader? And why is it essential to your success in 2023? Because at the center of every story is, in fact, a leader. And because finally now the focus is on women in leadership. Now, this is a domain not previously populated by women. And what do I mean by that? We know that there are women in leadership, but very few. So this year, you may not know this, but this year is the very start of a historical event, and it's being called the Era of the Woman. Look, it may feel like we've been doing this women's empowerment thing for a while, but the fact is that the shift is only happening now. So this is a time where the understanding of gender roles and gender fluidity continues to evolve, where both masculine and feminine styles of management by leaders of all genders is now acknowledged and now sought after. And I'm going to add here something even more important and valuable to remember. Once the feminine, the wounded feminine heals, so too will the wounded masculine. And I'm going to leave that with you to unpack that and understand that in your own approach, in your own way. So we are just at the beginning of this journey, and never before have women been so encouraged. And this is what I'm talking about. And I'm excited because think about it. What this means is that we are now part, you and I are now part of a historical event. We're now part of the woman of the era, whether you're a man or a woman. We are in 2023, and it is the springboard that us women have been longing for. Our women ancestors fought for this time that we now have in history, ready to be written by your leadership. Now think about that. Our ancestors fought for this time we now have in history, and it is ready to be written by your leadership. So I want you to think about, what does that mean for you? So this is a time that has presented itself as a platform for your voice. And it is there waiting for your message, each of your messages. And your voice could be the imprint that ripples out and rewrites the future. This is the time that we're in. The era of the woman means something for both men and women because it's a time where we get to rewrite history, and that's why it's exciting. So I invite you, man and woman, to speak into the listening of the globe from the place of your feminine perspectives. Because what's been missing in leadership is that truly feminine quality, which depends upon a new kind of leadership from both men and women, which will require a new mindset, a brand new mindset, releasing outdated ways, releasing conditioning, and developing new ones so that we have the new kind of leadership that we desperately need. We need to rewrite the future, and you know it. You absolutely know it. So it will call upon each individual's unfolding of self-expression, and that's what I'm all about. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my journey. My journey is going to be really important. When you follow me on my journey, you'll understand why I'm giving you this message I just gave you. And perhaps you can look at your own experience and unfold your own self-expression. My journey really started when I was 10 years of age. Now, my parents were amazing. They encouraged me and my two younger brothers, to speak about our feelings and to share our opinions on, well, literally everything. Mum and Dad were raised in the culture of children should be seen and not heard. And I was born into the feminist movement. So I had opinions about life and myself that I freely shared. I loved to talk. She talks is what they said about me. And what they meant was that I wasn't constrained and I wasn't afraid to shine, like most kids, right? I tried out for every play, even knowing that I wasn't the most talented for a part, never stopped me for going for it. You know, like it was just too much fun trying out, you know, mucking around with all my friends and being in character on stage together. And I also loved to read. Across the entire lounge room wall, bookshelves full of wonderful books. And there I am sitting cross-legged on the carpet, pulling out a book for schoolwork, and out pops this thin book with the face of a man on it, Socrates. And what really stood out for me, the idea that really got me, was this idea about free will. So here began a lifelong love affair with, quite literally, the translation of the word philosophy, the love of wisdom. I loved wisdom. So just imagine, here I am in primary school, the recess bell chimes, arms flapping, I'm dashing across the courtyard, I plonk my bum down on the wooden slats as my friends catch up, breathless. And then that small crowd of friends soon turned into a large crowd of kids wanting to hear what I discovered in the pages of this book. And I love to share that wisdom with the other kids. I found it so exciting, you know, discovering the truth about ourselves and the world that we live in, you know, the nature of being human, going beyond assumptions and what's considered normal, completely excited me, and it still does. And if you think about it, it probably excited you too when you were a kid. Now imagine my family and our new neighbour's family are camping together. My dad and their dad are sitting over there in front of me, and they're having a conversation. They're having some drinks and a conversation, and it's a heated conversation. My dad is getting, no, that's not how it is. And just one moment, someone's, hi. Sorry, I'm on a meeting. Yeah, right. So he's getting, no, that's not how it is. You have to excuse, I'm at my niece's house, so that's why I've got an interruption. So I can see that Dad's trying to get his point across, and he's still getting, no, that's not how it is. And Dad's nodding while saying, tell me more, as he listens. Now, I appreciate these kind of headstrong conversations. I can really see the value in them. And I love nothing more than learning from my dad, the real life policeman detective. Now, that's probably why also, you know, because I love opinions and I'm watching my dad, I'm probably one of the best debaters in school at the time. And that's probably why, because I found opinions exciting. Now, opinions are exciting, aren't they? If you think about it, they crash against what we already know, and then they turn them into something more. Apologies for the sound in the background, guys. I see it like a science experiment, taking one idea and another idea and pouring it into a beaker, and boom, there you have this brand new concoction. And, you know, we get to think about things in an exciting new way. During my debating years, I learned some amazing concepts. I discovered first principle thinking, where you take the idea down to its most basic parts, and then you follow those into a new line of thinking. It's methodical because it keeps the goal in mind, and my brain liked it. Synergistic thinking, where you take two ideas and they're ideas that wouldn't normally go together and combine them and see what you come up with. Adaptive thinking, where you take on the other person's point of view and go beyond that assumption. And the truth is, these are skills that we all need. These are skills we need because they will improve the world that we live in. Now, my dad is still getting, no, that's not how it is. And I can't remember what they were arguing about. I just remember Dad couldn't get his point across and he's still being spoken over. So the debater, me, decides, I'm going to deliver my debate point and win this debate for my dad. Moving closer to them, plonking myself down on the table, looking up at each of them and smiling up at our new neighbour's dad. I couldn't wait till his grumpy face changed when I delivered my brilliant, well thought out point. Okay, so I can't remember what point I delivered, but I will never, ever, ever forget what he laughed at me. No, this is no place for children. You should go away and play with the other girls. Your dad doesn't want your opinion. And from that time on, he would whisper at me, shut your mouth. No man wants to listen to a girl like you. This was the person who would always greet me inappropriately when no one else was watching. And I was trying to work out if he meant what he was doing, or if it was an accident where he placed his hands on me. So here I am in this situation, and I decide that it wasn't safe to share my opinion. By the time I reached 16, I knew that everything that he was doing was wrong. I never stopped from saying something, haven't been raised to have a voice, but here's the thing. The more that he said to the others, she's just an emotional teenager, the more that they tended to believe him. I thought that my dad, the detective, would have picked up on the grooming, but I don't blame my dad for not noticing because he was losing his wife at the time. We were going through Mum having cancer and she died at home in his bed. And from that point on, I decided that I should keep my problems to myself. Here I am walking home from school and I'm super excited to be talking away to my friend Marissa, and my mind is racing full of thoughts, waiting to be expressed as the grey concrete disappears under my feet. I look up at her thinking for sure she's going to be smiling at me because I was expressing all of my thoughts to her and I knew that she wanted to express her thoughts to me, or at least that's what I thought. Looking up at Marissa, she actually looks disappointed in me. And she says, I don't want to talk about all that deep stuff. It's weird. Okay, Marissa, but why not? And when no answer came from my friend Marissa, I decided that perhaps I shouldn't share my opinion because maybe it was weird if no one else is thinking like I'm thinking. Welcome to the invisible drama that operates inside of us, mostly unconscious. We all have something from our past, from our history that gets in the way now, that has us believe something about ourselves that distorts our truest self, that has us turn down the dial of our authenticity, that has our inbuilt confidence dialed down, that has us not tap into our potential, that has us not outshine others, that has us worry about other people's opinions, has us not take big risks, the big, hairy, scary, audacious risks, and has us not step fully into our feminine leadership. Man or woman has us not step into our feminine leadership, and that has us start with managing our life. Think about that one for a moment. Are you actually managing your life, just constantly managing things and keeping them together and making them work? Or are things just happening? Is it flowing? Is it in that beautiful creative flow, that feminine element where you get to come up with big ideas and watch them turn into a reality, turn them into a reality? The very thing which us humans crave. So which one is it? So here we are, because of all of this, not speaking up, not being too opinionated, too deep, too emotional, too out there, too controversial, or too angry. A little bit, but not too much, just in case we get judged. Not speaking out too loud, not speaking too loud because we think we don't really make a difference. Fearful of doing it wrong. We're also afraid of doing it wrong, of making a mistake because of the culture that we've been grown in. And then maybe we think we're useless and don't matter because all of those parts of us have been rejected in the past, scolded in the past. And because of the expectation placed on us to please others and to think of others first. So it's also because of the top-down approach where we must listen to the boss, parents, teachers, neighbours, older kids, relatives, work managers, work owners, business hierarchy, where the decision making is dominated by the boss, which dominates the bottom-up approach of everyone being involved in the decision-making, where everyone is a leader. And think back to when I was 10, how I was raised by my parents, who encouraged us to share our opinions on everything. Who then do we get to be? Or who do you not get to be? That's the more important question. When what you really want is to share those beautiful big ideas of yours and have them come alive through delivering them as a talk or an event like Rose has put on, or through writing a book, which some of you already may have written or are thinking to write, through your business or project, inspired and inspiring others, your networks, your family, your circles, into action, which, by the way, is feminine leadership explored. I was a robot.
That's Wale.
You'll have to excuse me again. Apology, guys. They know that I'm doing this, but I'll just flick that off again. All right, so I was a robot, wishing that I could collapse into a puddle, hoping that someone I loved and trusted would come along and scoop me up and say, "Sir, finally, it's over. finally, you're safe. But it didn't happen. So this was the moment that I began to become shy. And some of you may relate to this. I went from being comfortably outgoing to uncomfortably reserved. We all have some experience like this. The world sometimes felt like a dangerous place to be myself. Can you relate? And I realized how much most other children in the school actually felt the same, that I could now see they were covering up. And I really missed being at ease in myself and around others. Shyness feels really uncomfortable, always hiding, being insecure, always hiding, being self-conscious, always hiding, being nervous, always hiding, feeling timid, and those physical sensations like going bright red and feeling tense and your throat closing off and your hands are sweaty, stumbling over your words because you feel breathless, fidgety, speechless, embarrassingly speechless. You know what? I was so awkward trying not to be. My brain and body were going through these tremendous changes. The development phase between the ages of 10 and 16 is all to do with fast-paced brain growth. It's to do with developing critical thinking skills, a drive for independence, a growing social network that is dependent on acceptance. And it's the age where the perception of others about us and the world can often become our perception of ourselves. It's at this age that we have a greater awareness of those perspectives and that we actually take them on as real. So it is a time when it can feel risky to be ourselves. Maybe you felt the same. I had to survive all of these moments. I feel like everything I say will be taken wrong. I no longer trust how others will react to me. And I decide that it isn't safe anymore to express myself. So what changed for me to be a speaker today who gets up on stage in front of audiences as large as 1,000 people, who speaks alongside other well-known speakers and who trains other women to be a public speaker? Well, unknowingly, I went on a search for my self-expression. First, I went to university to study art, media, and continue with drama. I later completed a doctorate of natural medicine so that I can live to 100, of course. And then I studied business and networking. I found myself being a presenter for 2 different radio shows. I presented for 2 different TV programs. I was an actor for a children's TV show, modeling for top brand magazines, as well as being a reporter for a music magazine. I was really on the search for my self-expression. Next, I started business. So I started as a face painter, which I still do and I still love. And I ran an art group for women from the Port Phillip community and from the Centre of Sexual Assault. So there's no surprise there. Through the art group and winning 2 civic awards, I made a really powerful connection with the City of Port Phillip Council. So I was then being booked to get up and speak in front of really large audiences, as large as, or if not larger than 1,000, in front of the local mayor and the Melbourne mayor and other dignitaries. And it was at this stage that I also began delivering talks on health and wellbeing for health magazines. And I loved expressing myself through my hands, through my voice, through my imagination, and through my body. But something was missing. I wasn't expressing my own voice and my own opinions. I don't yet know how to say what I want to say that needs to be said. Because it was never my story when I was getting up to speak, I was able to put myself forward as confident, even if I might go a bit bright red. I didn't really mind so much whether I was on the page or the stage. I could pretend or act or be confident because it wasn't my story. But when it came to speaking about myself, and especially even just talking in a casual conversation one-to-one with someone, I was never at home in myself. I was really self-conscious and ridiculously self-critical. I couldn't even hold eye contact. And I would bite my mouth as I stumbled over my words. And I second-guessed everything that I said. And I was terrified of showing the cracks. I was so wound up, and my face would be left attended by my body because I was doing this internal stress, and I looked scared when I spoke to someone, and I'd be asked, "Are you okay?" It was heartbreaking. I found myself, though, starting to speak publicly about my own experience. Long story short, I won the title for the Mrs. Australia Globe pageant in 2009, and I'm glad I won. As a titleist, my role was to speak publicly about the two charities I was an ambassador for, one for children, one for women. And it mattered more to me that I shared my story with these women than it did for me to play safe. So I felt safe to start to deliver my talks in the way that felt right for me, not like a public speaker, not trying to be anything other than what felt right for me. Instead of pretending to be me, I tried on just being me and surprise. I grew into the woman that I was previously so terrified of becoming, afraid to be, because being a woman meant I was vulnerable. And then the more that I was asked to speak, I thought I should get some public speaker training. So I completed the training and realized that it will never get me to be unleashed self-expression. And it was never going to get others what they wanted or needed either. So I created She Talks, a breakthrough training that goes beyond superficial public speaker training, and it allows each individual to become unleashed in their self-expression. The catalyst for creating She Talks was clearly started right back when I was 10, and that whole journey of becoming, when I was comfortably outgoing and becoming uncomfortably reserved. That was the catalyst. I created trainings from a deeper place, a deeper understanding of what's needed for the human mind and a deeper understanding of what's needed for the human body and for women, what women need and want. She Talks became an opportunity for me to share my wisdom and not to feel better about myself, which was what I was doing when I was first starting. You know, we try to act professional. We try to look like we have it all together. We want to sound intelligent. We want to finally feel like we matter or that we're interesting. And that is not the reason for sharing your message. So what I had to move out of my way was acting confident, not wanting to be witnessed, want to get up to speak, but I don't want you to see the real me, needing to sound like a professional, wanting to be seen intelligent, to feel important, to look like I have it all together so that people will take me seriously and finally listen. And I got out of that way. I had to really dig deep for this one. I'm little, and who am I to act like I know? And all of that kept me small. So can you hear what you've got? Is it being triggered up into your consciousness? What's getting in your way? And then, of course, I was left with worrying about, I wasn't like all the other public speakers or trainers. And because I was doing it my way, which was different, I would fail, even though I knew I was on the right track. So as I wrote the She Talks training and the story that would deliver my message and my programs, I realized that all of those filters were never going to get me back to that 10-year-old girl, the real me who contributed to every grown-up conversation without ever being made to feel like she might be saying it wrong, without ever being made to feel like she shouldn't have an opinion and her opinion doesn't matter, without being left to feel like she wasn't interesting and that there's no place for me in the world. as I let the tears fall from my eyes, without wiping them away, mind you, as if there's something wrong with us, I got present, really present to that freely, gorgeous, self-expressed young girl who I could have searched an entire lifetime for until the day I died, had I have not done something differently. So what do you need to do differently? What do you need to get out of your way and do differently? This was a triumph over my past. I went from being shy and exhaustingly awkward, pretending to be confident and have it together, to authentically confident and boldly emotional without anything to prove. Now you get what I'm saying, yes? Now when I get up on the stage to speak or here online, I don't think about what people think about me. It's the last thing I think about. And I don't think that my big ideas or opinions are weird or not interesting. Now speaking empowers and it energizes me. I get to be my most radical, deepest, truest, authentic, self-expressed me. From the stage, on the page, I know I make a difference, and I want you to reach that place, and maybe you already do, to know that you make a difference. And there are people that came to hear what you have to say. Test your programs, do pilot groups on your avatar, on your audience, and know that your programs work. Speak, get up to speak on stages, on lives, with the courage to be your truest self and learn and get to know that you're accepted. Who would you become for yourself? Who would you become for yourself if you knew you made a difference and you were accepted? Who I became for myself is someone who makes a difference in the lives of others. I know that without doubt. And that's the journey that I wanted to be on. And now I can truly 100% be on my journey, walking my path, walking my truth, because I know I make a difference and I'm accepted. So who needs to hear this right now? Own it, put your hand up. Who needs to hear this? Who don't you get to be? Write that down. Who don't you get to be? What have you chosen to live out and manage instead of the life that you dreamt of living? And I'm just about to finish. And what would it mean for you to be the kind of speaker, the kind of business owner, the kind of podcaster, the kind of event organizer, the kind of mom, the dad, whatever it is? What kind of would you be? What would be different for you? Because speaking for me means that I get to support women and how they show up in the world. So my conclusion, the time has arrived to update your consciousness, your gender consciousness, as a powerful resource for leadership within your business, project, organization, networks, and family. Thank you. That's my message.
Thank you, Fer. Thank you so much. That was so powerful. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so gorgeous. You know, it's really incredible to have this real full circle moment. When you reach those full circle moments and your life has clarity, you know, the journey you've been on, and we make sense out of the mess, and we grow out of the mess, and it becomes our message. And I'm just going to leave everyone with one more thing. Your story is your message, and your breakthroughs are what you train and speak to others about and in. So I want to leave you with that. Look, I have a gorgeous business platform, and it is just for women. And I've got a story showing masterclass coming up. I'm going to give everyone a 50% discount. So come and I'll look after you. It's actually on the 25th. In Port Melbourne. Yeah.
So where can they find it? So it's a live event? It's an in-person event?
Yep, I'm going to be coaching. It's a story showing masterclass for storytelling and story showing. And it starts at 1 and it goes to 6 p.m. in Port Melbourne. I can shoot you a link if you like.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I'll share it.
Or just ask Rose, and yeah. And I'll give you 50% off. Everyone who wants to join, I'm happy to do that. I'd love to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So before you go, where can people find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, sure. Look, www.shetalks.com.au, and you'll be able to find me there, and all over social media, probably Instagram. It's She Talks Public Speaking. Yeah.
Perfect. I've been asking everybody, so you're not going to escape this question. If you had some words of wisdom to share with someone, what would they be?
Don't stop second guessing yourself. That's how we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to second guess ourselves. And then you've just got to pull up your big boy pants or your big girl pants and just go for that thing that you want to go for. Seriously, it'll be so worth it. Get support along the way, and with every step you'll get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. We've all got to put our big girl or big boy panties on.
Got to put them on and pull them up.
That's exactly right. If you don't pull them up, you could trip yourself up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rose. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much for filling in for me. You're an angel. I'll be in touch soon.
I hope that was worthy of your time. Bye for now.
Bye.
See you, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.